Yeah, go for it.
I don't see you record yet there, Maddie.
Started my fogger.
1 sec, just waiting on our guy to let me know when to go.
No, I
Here we
know.
go.
I'm just fucking with you. What the fuck?
Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and you can catch Off the Puck on Rogers TV, Channel 20 every Saturday night, 9 p.m. You can also view our live recordings on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Just follow at Off the Puck Hockey for dates, times to check us out. Lots of NHL updates, player movement in the NHL, finally a blockbuster trade going down between the Blue Jackets and the Jets, sending Laine and Dubois packing, and the panel is going to discuss that later. And speaking of the panel, let's introduce the boys. We've got Adam Stiles and Mike Walker. What's going on, fellas?
Hey tonight, man.
How are you?
Yeah, we're not sure if Walker's sticking around or not. His internet's going haywire. He's recording from his phone here, so we'll see what happens. But you know what? I want to get right into it because literally the last 10 minutes, all we've done is laugh off the air, and I want to bring him in right away. And Off the Puck welcomes retired NHLer and four-time Stanley Cup winner, Mr. Darren McCarty. How are you, sir?
Tyler, I'm doing great, buddy. I'd love to. You know what? We're going to get looking like walks, because he's just like I told you. I got no problem being a Pittsburgh fan and stuff because I won 08, they won 09. I can share, but gosh darn it, little respect here. I mean, like, at least you could have like plugged in the phone and be in the car or something like that. I mean, and then you got old Adam here. Adam, poor guy. I mean, he's got his diehard Maple Leaf fan. I mean, the best thing that I ever did when I was 10 years old, because I grew up in Leamington, right? And that's when the Dead Wings were there. And, Steve Eiserman. So everybody around was, my cousins were all Toronto Maple Leaf fans, and all my friends were Canadiens fans. I bet my cousin when I was 10 years old, I said the Wings would win the cup before the Leafs. And the fact that I scored the goal in 97 to bring it home, I made him pay me $200, and the fact that now the bet is the Detroit Lions versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's only $100. So worst case, I can lose $100. I still think I'm in that bet because I'm moving forward faster than you guys. That's all I got to say, Tyler. You're lucky you hit the button. And
I got a Brampton. Hey, I got a Brampton shirt on right now, representing.
I got nothing to say. There's some pretty hot chicks I know in Brampton, buddy. There you go. That's what I'd say. Tell your mom I said hi. That's how old I am. All right, I'm done with you clowns. I was telling you this before, guys. It's always great to be back and to mix it up with the Canadian guys and messing it around. I was telling you guys off air and buddies with the Letterkenny guys, and the great thing about it and why that show is so great is that to tell everybody the cast and characters are a family like a hockey team, and that's just goes on constantly. So what you guys got going here, putting in your love of the game that we all love, that we all grew up the same way being Canadian, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be on here. And my question to you guys, if you don't mind, before you ask me questions, what are your response? Let's get into this Laine Dubois trade, because you got to remember you're talking to the guy who, this isn't my NHL. This has changed, right? This is different now. Now where it used to be, if you were the big guy, you'd have a job. Now it's if you're the fast guy, you get a job. The game's changed.
Yep.
All right. But does this, I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's one guy that didn't want, two guys that didn't want to sort of be there. I just don't know if Tortorella and get to Laine, it either works or it doesn't. Dubois, I think, is a better return for Winnipeg, especially if Shifley is healthy. You guys watch that realigned Canadian division now. Yep. That's a dogfight up and down that roster. I mean, that doesn't, you want me to play the harmonica for you Leaf fans out there. They didn't do you any favors. So what say you guys on this trade before we get started?
Yeah, I like Winnipeg's Columbus side of it. I like them getting Laine and that defenseman Roslovic. He's got some pretty good potential there. I think it's good for both sides. Obviously, like you said, they both want to get out of there, get out of town. But then again, for Winnipeg, just like I heard earlier, that Dubois will have a lot of things to prove, right? Everybody's saying that Columbus won the trade, and he's going to want to go there and prove them wrong. He's a great centerman, and then under Scheifele there, that's a great 1-2 punch, and I think he's going to do great himself, and I think it's a great trade both ways. I just personally feel Columbus won it.
Yeah, I think Columbus's GM said it perfectly when he did say, how do you trade away your third pick overall? And he said, quite easily, I got the second pick.
Pick, yeah.
I mean, I think for most drafts, your top 10 guys are comparable. I mean, outside of a superstar kid that comes up every once in a while.
Yeah. On my side, Darren, I really think it's an even trade. I do kind of like Columbus's situation better. Like, I think there's more for Line A to give. I think he just wanted out of there, but we'll see. I guess we'll see what the chemistry's like. And like you said, the only deciding factor, you already said it, Tortorella.
Yeah.
How is he going to handle him? And can Line A put down the Fortnite? That's the question. Can he lay off the video games?
Yeah. Are they both need to be signed too, or are they both?
Good
last year?
Dubois signed because he signed that $5 million. Right. So
that's right. And Liney's not though, is he?
No.
But Adam, you brought up a great point. When you have a proven defenseman or a guy that you know is something, that's a rare commodity. Because I know in Detroit we'd love to have Roosevelt.
Yeah. In Toronto, I'd like to have some defense too.
Well, at least you say self-awareness, bro, is the first step, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. So much suffering. It's getting sickening.
What do you, Darren? What do you think about the Toronto Maple Leafs this year? Like, do you really did they improve with Brody? Did they have a shot in this Canadian division?
Thornton, what do you think about Thornton?
I love Jumbo. You know, I think experience-wise, it's not going to hurt. And obviously, you know, it's the NHL. It's Bettman's NHL. You know, they could be one of the 5 teams left in the last game of the year to decide 2 positions, or maybe they get hot. You know how this game goes. It's different now because there's 3-point games. That really messes up how you can predict because, you know, obviously then, oh, guys, remember, we're in COVID. So then you don't know how that's going to play out. So I always said what was important for everyone, look at after 10 games. If you see somebody got out to an 8-2 or 7-3, what's their schedule like? How are they? Have they been sick? You know, there's so many other variables and, you know, sabermetrics, if this was baseball, to go into what's going on as far as, but, you know, I think that it's one of these things you got to just be healthy, get into the playoffs and be clicking. So I dog them and whatever else, but they got just as good a chances as a lot of teams coming out there if, you know, they get their guys to play together. Because Toronto's one of those teams that can be on and off. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 different Toronto teams. It's always been that way. Which one is it? Who's here to play?
Yeah.
When they're there to play, they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yep.
Before we dive right into it and let the boys get going there, Darren, I want to talk about your backdrop. I want to talk about where you are right now because that is awesome. I love the backdrop. You said I want to talk about where you're announcing this from.
Yeah, I'm in the smoke shack at the headquarters at the pad here. So I got my grind time flag and my Darren McCarty brand clock over there, and
nice.
I got some drawings from some fans, the grind line behind me. But this is where I spend a lot of my time and stuff like this. I enjoy doing interviews and conversations here. It's really comfortable.
Yeah, we really enjoy having you.
It's out of the house.
Yeah, we really enjoy having you. Thank you a lot, Darren. And we just kind of want to touch on your career. Just let us know how you got started, where you're growing up, where you started playing, and what age did you kind of start noticing you had a chance to make it, or you're being seen, or how did that all go?
Yeah, so I was born in Burnaby, British Columbia, same hospital as Joe Sakic. So that's where all the skating ability and the talent, you know, a lot of it went. And, but I grew up in Leamington, you know, which is 40. If you give 10 minutes for the border. My house I grew up in was 40 minutes from Joe Louis Arena. So that's why I grew up a Detroit sports fan and stuff like that. My first love was baseball. I remember when I started playing hockey at 5, I didn't play the first year because I didn't like the garter belt. And so my stepdad said, you're not going to wear the equipment, you're not going to play. So I figured it out. But I was always the hardest worker. And I was always the one that the first on, last off. I just loved it. And, like you ask anybody that in Leamington, from the time I was 10 years old till I was 21 years old till I left there, I was the one that'd be rollerblading through town, running through town. I was always doing something. My goal since I was 8 years old was to make it to the NHL. And I had way more people tell me why I wouldn't than why I would. And the people that, the way that I'm wired is you tell me I can't do it. Well, I'm going to do it just to shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, that's just me,
Absolutely.
and there's a gear there, and right. So you feed this, you have this drive that gets fed. But the thing is that you're on this destination and you think that the destination is your goal to play in the NHL and stuff, but you miss the journey along the way. Now you're lucky enough because growing up in Leamington and then putting myself in a position of, it would be about my Bantam year. So I remember I was 14 and then I went away to Can-Am hockey school that I gone to for like 10 years in a row, but I did their junior program. And it just so happened that Brian Drum, who was running the program, was taking over a winless junior B team in Peterborough. This is like 1998 or 1988. And so he asked said that team wasn't going to be good, but I could come and get ice time and stuff like that. Now I'm a brutal skater, man. It's like I run on the ice. I mean, if I was a good skater, it wouldn't even be fair. You'd have to have Hall of Fame do it. So, but it always was something that was going to keep me out. So that was always why I go to hockey schools and always work on it. Just, to be able to do it. There was always something that you got to keep working at. And so I got the opportunity, went to Peterborough, played junior B, and then, this is where I learned. I was told by Brian Drum that in order to make to the NHL, you got to do 99.9 for things. You got to do one thing better than everybody else. For me, it was going to be physical and fighting. Even though I grew up as a scorer and stuff like that, I was like, whatever. You tell me what I got to do, I'm going to do it. So it's the same. It's an easy, and this is where it used to be. Now you got to remember, this is the 80s, and this is older time hockey, right? Where it was every year, first year, all you do is fight everybody, establish yourself, work on your game and practice. Don't worry about goals and stuff like that. That gets you in, especially in junior and in the OHL and Belleville playing on the Olympic ice surface. I had to either throw it out in the ocean, or you're either going to survive or you're going to drown. I'm going to figure out how to survive, and then you're going to battle, then you're going to get space. So by my third year in junior, I'd fought everybody, whatever. By the time I wound up at the blue line, guys are back into the top of the crease. I had 55 goals. I led the league. I won the player of the year, led me to getting drafted the second year. So I was, and drafted as a 19-year-old. So it was always, I like to answer your question long about way. I was always told what I couldn't do. And that always fired me up. So that would always be the motivation. And so, I wasn't supposed to. There's so many guys that were better than me, but they just didn't have
that extra.
You got to put the pieces together at the right time. And then you got to also have somebody like a Brian Drum or a Paul Crowley or a Kenny Holland that sees something. Okay, right? That's where you need one person to like you. The beauty of today's game with the internet and everything, nobody hides.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Germany's the new Sweden, by the way, if you didn't get the memo. Toronto doesn't know anything about that. That's a Detroit thing. Well, I don't know, Adam, if that answers your question, but
yes, absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
Sort of, it was one of those things that, and I ask everybody, to this day, that's 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and stuff like that. But everybody's successful, hard work. So you might as well find something that you love, so you can put your heart and soul into it. And sometimes when you're realistic, that's what you love. You got to go a different route than you want to go to get there. But as long as there's progress, it's always progress, not perfection. Because the destination that you're so worried about when you're a kid of getting to the NHL, it's an oasis, bro.
Yeah.
Because once you get there, then you want to win cups. Then you win one, then you want to win two. Then you win two, then you want to win three. Then you win three, you want to win four. Then you win.
Some guys would be so lucky to win one.
And then Mike's team rips you off a 5 and then you retire because you're sour. No, you're actually beat down and broken and stuff, and it's time to walk away. But that's a whole other story. But you can write it any way you want, bro.
Oh, you know we're talking about it because that's been the top of the conversation lately. Is Mike Babcock coming back and obviously getting back in the spotlight? And back in 2019, you'd spoken about it briefly in an article that it cost the Stanley Cup. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Said that the way that if you look back when everything was coming out that was said is where you can understand. And I said that that if you look back I said in 08 the team won in spite of them and lost because of them in 09, just because of the way he used guys, the way he ran the bench, the mental game, the stuff that started to wear down. Right? You see what it is. And then, like I've always said, I like Mike Babcock. I got along because there was that respect, and I was there for he knew he needed me, and he knew, right? Like I was, because it was the locker room thing, right? That's what it was. It was the glue to put the piece in the locker room, right? And it just ended up that guys got hurt, and then he had to play me. He didn't have to, but he played me 17 out of 22 games, right? But that was it, and then you could see how that power struggle of on the top too much, it just wears out, and he's not the only one, and to be fair, but what I've said is Mike Babcock's a smart enough guy, and I think that when he realizes where he went wrong, that he can, like, here's what I would say: if he would have had this before he went to Toronto, his stint in Toronto would be totally different. Because X's and O's and preparation, there is nobody better.
Yeah.
Just like the way Scotty Bowman's the greatest bench coach. Scotty Bowman's the greatest bench coach because we call it the bingo machine. Like great that, everything's copacetic when the grind line's out there and the Russian 5 are out there and everybody else. But when things aren't going right, and he goes, you go, and then you score. Right? It's just him chopping ice, but it's the bingo machine. So it's one of those things that I think that he was too into it to see the big picture now that he's been away and seen life again. And because that's the one thing I know about Mike Babcock. He's a very, he's this intelligent guy. So, I haven't heard any of his interviews or anything, but when it was asked, could he recover from this and come back? Yes, I think he's one of those that could learn from it and come back even better. So it's life and it's people and stuff like that. And sometimes, you get caught up in sort of maybe your own image of yourself or what you lose yourself sometimes. And it's not the message you're trying to get across. But unfortunately, when things don't go right, everything message is negative.
Darren, you mentioned it kind of in the room there being the glue and stuff. Kind of elaborate for me here. I'm just going to throw a couple names at you. Fedorov, Eiserman, Probert, your first year in the league, kind of what were they in the room to you?
Oh, yeah, Big Bob. Well, Proby, growing up in Essex County and stuff, he was the icon. And me growing up, Stevie was the talent, and then you love Detroit because you had the Bruce brothers and beat the shit out of everybody, so we didn't have to win, but we beat the crap out of you and take your girlfriend and drink all your beer. That's what we did. That's the motto. So I love Big Bob. We got I'm real tight with his widow Danny's like a big sister, always has been, still close with the kids and stuff, but he was just a big gentle giant. And the one thing with Proby is and I always just wanted to be Robin to his Batman. I always like Proby needs Rob, like since Joey was gone and stuff, and a guy to take away some of the little dogs that were gnawing at his ankles. You know, I like when I could stay light heavyweight division. I had fun fighting guys my size. You know, especially back in the day when the jersey would come off. That was like Hoist Gracie's gi and stuff like that. It was part of how I learned how to fight and stuff like that, to be able to survive against the guys that are a lot bigger than I am. So, you know, it's one of those things. And then, you know, Fedorov, one of the greatest dudes. I think it's 2 weeks I was there. We were at like a Meat Puppets Stone Temple Pilots concert. Nice. And he was taking me out after hours. So that was awesome. He was Sergey's like your he's like your little brother. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you always understand, like he's just misunderstood. I love him, and he gets a bad rap because he's a different guy, but he's just a little bit more sensitive. But it's because people don't understand him; they don't listen. So if you listen, it's great. And then Steve Eiserman, well, he made me realize that everyone in this life is going to be somebody's bitch. So it's whose bitch are you going to be? Me, I was Steve Eiserman's bitch. So I shot pretty high, got up there. Took me 3 years to stop sucking my thumb and crying in the corner. Figure out he picked on me because he liked me. But Steve Eiserman, he don't throw swords, knives. He throws samurai blades, bro. Slits you in half like a zombie, goes sliding off. You're laughing, then it's you. And, you know, but one of my biggest supporters, not just in hockey, but more so in life. And, you know, it goes to all the Grindline guys and Ozzy and you know, the Marty Points and the Dandies and Wardos and the guys we all grew up with, all the Russian Five. I mean, last December with the Russian Five movie, I hope you guys have educated yourself and seen that movie at least. Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, so somebody had to bring some fucking semblance to it. And Slava Kozlov's the most miserable motherfucker in hockey history. Go up to him every day, morning, Slava, how you doing? Fuck you, Mecklen Russian, talk to me. Fuck, I don't deserve that. This tomato picker from Leamington, boys. Just said this wanted to say, just spread a little love. Did I learn Russian? No. Although Kazi did give me a name. Hey, he finally gave me a name one day, Igor, because it used to be Kozlov, me, Larionov, Draper. And Iggy's, Drape sat beside me, then Larionov, because Iggy's laughing at Kazi. He said something, and Iggy goes, yeah, he gave you a name. I said, Russian name? He goes, yeah. I go, what is it? He goes, fuck up. So at least I got one. But yeah, you know, the reason, like, and we talk culture now, and you see with Stevie back and Drapes and all the guys, but it is the culture. You know, that's the Scotty Bowman culture. That's the Illich culture. That's just the love. And, you know, to this day, everybody's doing their thing that they want. How can you help the organization the best? Me, I love it. I'm people out of my power, so I feel like it's my responsibility between the team and the fans, right, to keep it together and to, you know, just tell them what we're in for. What we're in for is you just watched what your general manager, former, you know, Stanley Cup captain, whatever you want to say, put a team together in Tampa Bay in this new NHL. So it took him that long. So I think it's 4, 5, 6 years. And then you look at the pieces he's putting together, and you look at the core that we have, and you look at it's maneuvering. I mean, it's just sort of putting it into place. And it's something that I know Steve Eiserman will not be successful. Just that I just know certain things, guys. I know certain things. I know a lot about cannabis, and I know that Steve Eiserman knows. So as much as I know about cannabis, he knows more about winning.
So yeah, well,
I got rigs. I got everything. What do you need? You need some tincture, boys. You need some tincture. Your CBG running low. What do you need? You need some CBN. Having trouble sleeping.
I'll give you my address. Send her on over.
You know what? You're a Canada kid. We're almost there yet, but we'll get the Darren McCarty brand over there. Actually, you know, that's the beauty. Here's another good. So I grew up in Leamington. Yep. 5 doors down were the Cervini brothers. Guess what the Cervini brothers got into? Afria. They're part owners of Afria. So those are my neighbors I went to school with growing up. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I never got into cannabis. I never smoked cannabis till I was like 27.
Yeah.
It was always because you're Canadian. So it's here's a beer when you're 10, but you know, you want to be a hockey player, you can't smoke. It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna change that.
Yeah.
We're gonna change that because now we're educated and now we're smarter than that. And now it's all about, because us as Canadians, the one thing is that if it's right, it's right. And at least you have the option. I don't care what you do. It's important that you know you have the option. And when it comes to cannabis, because it saved my life. Thank God for fellow Canadian Rick Simpson.
Absolutely.
Rick Simpson oil.
Absolutely.
Fucking saved my life. Where is it? I got some around here somewhere. Look at that. This shit right here. Right? This is the fucking lifesaver.
Absolutely.
And that's used for special moments. So that, and you know, you can get a hold of Darren McCarty, you know, real Darren McCarty, whatever like that. I'm here to answer questions all day that you have. I'm not here to argue, but what do you mean by that? So I'm all for put you on your path. You got to do the work.
Absolutely.
You know, like I said, hard work, bro. That's it. I mean, I dug myself out of the depths of hell from my addiction to be here so nobody else has to ever go there.
Yeah.
Because,
do you mind touching on
that's
that,
the real deal.
Yeah, we were going to touch on that. I think that's what Adam was
I
doing.
had it in my questions, but since we're there, do you mind touching on that, Darren?
Oh, yeah. So if you see on my arms, right, like 11/11, that's my sobriety date, 11/11/15. And that sobriety date is the day that, you know, I went 8 days with Rick Simpson oil, 10 to 15 grams a day through the caregivers. My wife's a nurse, detoxing from alcohol. I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now. So I was like 280. My organs were about to explode because of alcoholism. I mean, I get sick when I didn't drink, not when I drank. I mean, I was in serious shape. So thank God through this plant and that it was a severity, and with the thing with the Rick Simpson oil like this. So I was like 10 to 15 of these a day. And it would put me out in pretty much like a coma state, other when you were purging and being sick. But the whole thing is on the 8th day, it's like I got on my knees and I was free of that physical addiction. Now, mentally, spiritually, and mentally, I was prepared. I've been through 4 rehabs. The league's put $1 million into this friggin' brain here. Now the tools that I've learned, I can apply, and I know how everything fits in before. Here's the biggest thing that always got me and almost killed me, is because I live by the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, except my program has a garden, right? It has to have a garden because that was the key that God put here for whatever else. Now through the education, if you don't want me to get mad about the opioids and the pills and all this thing from back in the day, because what we know now, then let's just make sure everybody's aware. And then people like myself who dedicate their life to it, and because of the gratitude that it's given them, because it's given them their life back, because it's given them their relationships back, because it's made them actually, you know, makes me able to enjoy life on life's terms. And I never want anybody to be there. So that's my truth. And it's like I tell everybody that, like, and it's beautiful, and I don't get mad about what had happened as long as we don't make the same mistakes. I learned that from Scotty Bowman. And this is what we all learned from Scotty Bowman, is you don't treat everybody the same. Everybody's different. Or if you do treat them the same, you got to treat them all differently, right? Because if you tell Sergey Fedorov he's got to do this, he's got to do this more, and then he's got to do this more. Well, you tell Darren McCarty, don't ever do that again. Same message, right? You're allowed to make that mistake once in life, and hopefully you learn from it. And I've made enough mistakes for all of us, and that's the whole reason I wrote My Last Fight, True Story of a Hockey Rockstar. 8 years ago, I wrote that, boys. Wow, man, things have changed since then. So I think we're going to work on, and we're working on a bunch of different things, but it's just to know that where I've come from, and I go back and I read that and I remember where I was in that space, and it just to let everybody know that no matter what, here's the key. At the end of the day, when you look yourself in the mirror, do not ever lie to that person. As long as you don't lie to that person, you can lie to everybody else. If you don't lie to that person, you got to start. How did I learn that? Because I'd walk by the mirror all the time. I hated who I was. I stopped and I said, I'm not dealing with you. And he looked back at me and he said, well, you're not going to make it back alive. See you later. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? Oh, you're swarmy motherfucker. Hey, like you. Oh, so and then I was like, wow, okay, I'm not happy. I don't like. What am I? And then it's like, what are you gonna do? And like I said, there's tons of tools that I was given through rehabs. This to apply is just put it in what works for me. Maybe it'll help or work. Somebody that you might be able to relate to better. Here's the who. Don't tell me what. Tell me who. Yeah. So it's the whole thing is like, if you do not like, my dad told me, if you don't like it, do something about it.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you once and show you twice. Now it's finding the people around that see it the same way. And I think in 2021, with everything in the world, with COVID, with, who knows when normal, whatever that means, gets back to it, or you get to go to a game or whatever like that. I think it's just perspective of an appreciation more to who you spend the time with and who you want to do things with and who you want to cheer for. And if you want to, if you want to suck eggs and, be out in the first round with the Leafs, or you want to lose in the finals with the Penguins, I mean, it's all good. Or you don't want to make the playoffs with the Wings, come on over here. Just being truth, man. It's just spitting your truth.
Truth hurts. The truth hurts.
Well, sometimes it does.
Darren, do you have any do you have any contact with our local legend, NHL legend, Bushy, Ryan Vanderbush?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we had him on the pod. I don't know, a month or so ago.
I love Bushy, dude. He hates me when I tell this story, but in junior, dude, Mark Cropper just sent him out, and Bushy was like half the size.
Yeah.
In junior, right? Yeah. Why? And toughest kid ever. I'd string him out, and I'd have him just out enough, and he'd get a couple in, but I'd just be teeing off on him, be like fighting your little brother, and he'd never quit. And I was like, I don't like. About the fourth time, it's like, get away from me. Like, because you can't hurt him. He's not going to quit, right? I'm the, third year guy, so he's like, so I'm supposed to, mop him up. But he's like, I knew he was just resilient and tough. And then he's even a better person. And, the stuff that with the Athletes for Care and the stuff in the cannabis. And we do a Probies ride every year. And I think that a lot of us, former tough guys. And I like to say, I call it the Essex County Fight Club. If you look at all the guys that came out of Essex County, how many fights there are.
Lots.
Yeah, it's something in the water, boys. I don't know.
Must be. Yeah, and while we're on fights, who do you find your toughest fight? Or toughest guys, I guess.
The guys, see, you like to fight the guys that you can get a punch in your face with, right? Maybe they break your nose or cut you or whatever, fine, right? But it's the guys that can put their fists through your head. The Tony Twists, the Dave Browns, or the Joey Koshers, who I fought my rookie year in the corner in Joe Louis Arena. Now, we all know, historically accurate, the only thing more lethal than Joe Kosher's right hand is Thor's hammer. True. So I'm a lefty. I squared off right, I grab him, and he throws a punch, and I duck, and he takes a piece of my helmet off. We end up in a headlock, hit our heads on the ice. He looks at me, goes, "You all right, kid?" I turned to him and said, "Thanks for not killing me, Mr. Kosher." Which, here's the moral of the story. If you don't kill me, I will haunt you. Usually in a good way. Remember that. So don't kill me. Because the biggest, us getting over the top was our acquisition of Brendan Shanahan, Larry Murphy, and Joey Kosher. Joey Kosher put the pop on the grind line and all us young guys. And Scotty was so good at, the way that the locker room interacted, and we took care of each other. And, and he made it more, and it's too, you can make it me against you guys, but it's got to be in a respectful way. Getting back to the Babcock thing, right? Not in a disrespectful way. That's when you get that. If it's like, screw the old man, right? It's more screw the old man. We're going to do it his way, but screw the old man. Why is he doing this? Screw the old man. We know that we're going to be playing for a championship, right? He's smarter than you, 5 moves ahead. You realize that his intentions, like I said, the quote, here, if you understand this, it was always, when you're talking about Scotty Bowman, it was always Troy Red Wings head coach, Scotty Bowman. when you're always talking about Mike Babcock, it's always good. Mike Babcock, head coach, Team Canada. Mike Babcock, head coach, Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Even though Scotty was the centerpiece, he never made himself the centerpiece. It was always about the team, and the team knew that it was always about the team.
One of the favorite quotes I heard was, you like Scotty Bowman on 2 days of the year, the day you got the cup and the day you got your rings.
Hey, I'm a little biased, though, because after we won in 02, we're standing around the Mr. and Mrs. Village, our owners always had a party, and we're standing around the shrimp cocktail bowl, and he comes up and friggin' malts and Aussie scattered. They were hammered. I had him almost bobbing for shrimp cocktails, right? And then their little Scotty dar went off, and then they split. And he comes up and he said to me, "Hey, Mac," he said, "one of the things that I didn't regret is I didn't tell my players how much I appreciate it." I'm like, "Well, thanks, Scotty. You brought me in the league. I appreciate it." And he goes, "Oh, shut up." And I'm like, "Oh." And he's like, "You're my second favorite right winger ever to play for me next to Guy Lafleur. Hope you're not mad." And he's gone. So I fucking got that going for me. Better than any Hall of Fame or fucking anything. Suck it. Yeah.
That's too good.
Darren, kind of touch on you've been saying the cups, talk about the first run you guys went on and when you guys won your first cup. Like, what was it like raising that sucker over your head?
And that goal you scored, you never touch on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got it, guys. Let's break it down a little bit, because this is the where it's like it where I'm at. I'll be 49 in April, but it's almost like I know that it was me, and I know I remember some of the experiences, but it's almost like a different life. And it's almost like the appreciation I have for it as you get older, and just because I think you get to meet more people and hear how it's, the situations affected more people, and the relatability. And that's what I love about it, to go around and remind people, hey, we were there together, even though I was there on the ice. And you bring it back because, when I was drafted in 92, played a year in Adirondack. That was the year that they lost to Toronto. Borishevsky, right? Scotty came the next year. I made the team. We won the President's Trophy, lost first round San Jose. Come back the next year, go to the finals, lose where we're supposed to win, lose to Jersey. Now, after losing to Jersey the first time, it was like, Drape says, "Oh, we can never let that happen again." I'm like, yeah, I know. But it didn't feel like we didn't. The next year, we set the league record, 62 wins. Yeah. 62 wins in the old NHL. Unheard of.
Yeah. Right?
Ridiculous. Right? And then we lose to Colorado in the whole where it starts. It's medieval.
Yeah.
It's medieval.
Yeah.
Dude, it starts like if you got to play it out, you can't break the whole 96 from the beginning of Patrick Waugh getting yanked against us. We blow him out 11-1, say, "I'm never going to play for your team again." And then he walk off, and then he gets traded to Colorado, which is the worst but the best for us, because if we didn't have that rivalry, we made each other that much better. And then we lose to them, and then boom, it's the same game. Chris Draper gets hit from behind game 6. My best friend from behind, Claude Lemieux. The biggest reason is because, dude, things in life and sport happen, but you can't lose respect for your fellow human being. And right, and that's the code of honor. And he said, "No, I don't apologize," and screw Chris Draper and all that. And bro, man, I had to think about that for like 10 months. Okay, I got down on my knees at the beginning of March. This is what God can't do it anymore. I'm driving myself crazy. It's whatever happens, let me be the messenger. Do you think he listened? Holy but jeepers. So March 26th, right, is Red Wing D-Day. March 26th, right? The fact we lost to them in the conference finals after setting the league record. We hadn't beaten them in the 3 games throughout the year. You guys know, I don't care. You're from Brampton, you're from Port Dover, you're wherever you're from, whatever trunk you came out of there, Mike. It doesn't matter where you're from. Rivalries are rivalries, right? You got to get through them. So that's why March 26th, and the fact that not only did I get the revenge and get the turtle Claude Lemieux smash his face against the boards in front of the Drapes, the fact that we were down 5-3, we tied it up, and I scored the overtime winner. So I slayed the dragon, banged the girl, and at that moment in the Wing-Wheeled Nation, this is what you're waiting for. You've had one of these moments before in Pittsburgh. You know what that is. But in Toronto, you're waiting for it like I'm waiting again, right, for it. It's a proverbial, whoa, and you know it. Wow, it's going to be all right. I don't know what it means. It's going to be all right. Boom. Fast forward 3 months. I'll be one guy one-on-one my whole career. We're racing Lord Stanley 9-7. You know, right? Which I'll tell you. So the Cup winner, right? 1997 against Yanni Niinema.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He loves
Poor
Matt.
guy.
He loves Maddle. He's a great dude. Sorry,
Poor guy. That's all he's known for.
And Hextall. But
Get dangled,
I
kid.
remember
Get dangled.
Yeah.
hey, when I say I beat one guy one-on-one my whole career, I'm not lying, right? And I'll tell you, because the puck gets dumped in, it's the end of the shift. And even I was a grind line, so what Scotty would do is he'd start the grind line against Lindros, play a few shifts, put Joey back on, put me back with Stevie for the rest of the end of the game, and he'd always mix it up. So it was on the line when I was out there with Stevie and Thomas Sandstrom. Puck is stumped in, Vlad. He takes a hit up to Sandstrom. Me, responsible grind line, right winger, just as you're always taught everywhere. Through the middle, took the pass. I know they're changing. Darren McCarty, this guy, is thinking, dump it in, dump it in, dump it in, right? The big G guy goes, no, you're going to be better than you. And remember, oh my God, I'm beating out of the corner of my eye, just this orange fleck. I just pulled it. And you know why I scored, boys? I was this far away, but I said, please don't miss the net. And I scored double pirouette. By the Russian judges, but that's
you know
a whole different story.
It's hilarious. We're sitting here talking there, Darren, and I'm watching it because I'm like, okay, I want to watch this from front to back.
I watched like 10 times.
Like if you're like a skills coach now, you're kind of watching it, and you just kind of see because you're a righty like me, and your top hand kind of shifted a bit, and he bit. Like, I don't know if you meant to do it or not, but when
I'll tell you,
it wasn't the toe drag. It was the top hand that bit, and then the toe drag just fucked everybody up.
I don't even know, but here's the story, right? Because if you read my book, that's if you know anything, is that after we lost in 95 and 96, I went over to Sweden for a month and worked with Thomas Storm, and I skated with like 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, not as a counselor, as a guy out there. In fact, Christian Uselius, who I played with in Calgary, we called him Magic out there. He was like 13 or 14, just dangling. It was sick back then. So I was out there in Thomas Storm, and the difference between North America and across the pond is here the kids are taught, don't touch it, or wait your turn in line. You know, get the puck, hit the net, stop at the net, move the line up, don't get hit by the puck, don't touch the puck till your turn. Right over there, it's like if you better always be touching the puck when you know you're not paying attention and everything like that, always playing around with it, moving it. That's how they do it. So that move was the warm-up drill every day. The pull it in, push it out, pull it in, push it out. Muscle memory. That's why it's repetition. Anybody who plays golf, you want to be a better golfer, talk to me after you've hit 1,000 of the same club consistently. Then you can consider yourself maybe to have an option of being called a golfer. Because other than that, it's what you put into it to get better. And so that was the payoff to that, you know? So, and the fact that Eric Lindros scored with like 11 seconds left not only made mine the cup clincher, but it also gave me my Joe Louis Arena favorite memory, which was I was on the ice with 11 seconds left, face off, Eiserman, Shanahan, Lidstrom, Konstantinov, McCarty, and the fact that we didn't really mess around, that I was the furthest away from the net when the buzzer went, the streamers came out of the sky, the guys came out of the stands, fans are going nuts. From blue line to blue line, it was so loud, it was silent. I'll never forget that memory. It was sick. Then I smoked right to the point, fell into the pile, and it was on. 35 pounds, light as a feather that night, 17 and a half beers, can't get the 18th in there.
Nice.
And and the best part, what I enjoyed, is at the end of the shenanigans, at the end of the night, you get to like 4 or 5 in the morning, you got it by yourself in the shower, and you're washing it off and whatever, and then you're going through it, and you're seeing all the imperfections and all the X'd out, and you're going, this is the real thing that's been going around, and you see, you know, the different guys that have had it, and it's still to this day, every time we do events and stuff and it's around, you got to go by and say hello to Stan.
Absolutely. We're never going to have time to touch on them all, but out of the 4 you won, is there one that sticks out more than the other, or?
They're like kids, man. They all got their own storylines. You know, like the first one, obviously for like, and not for Darren McCarty, but for DMAC, that's like my persona, right? Like that's who I had to figure out until I was like 45 that I didn't have to play all the time. I could be two different people, but DMAC would say 97, obviously he's the goal.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't, but then McCarty here says 98 because putting those back to back with the belief with losing Vladdy and everything we went through is that you cannot write a better script rushing 5. Then you go to 02 because we were supposed to. We go to 02 because we were expected to win, and you got the Hall of Fame team. You're expected to win, and we didn't do it easy, but we did it. And with those guys, and to be able to give Luke Robitaille is a Stanley Cup, you know, and he was my roommate, so I love Lucky. So,
Lucky Luke.
you know, it's, Turbo. That's what we call him, Turbo. He's so fast. Hey, here's a little trivia for you. 3 worst practice players in the history. Number 3, Darren McCarty. Practice, right? Awful. Right? But game time, let's go.
Yeah.
Like I used to say because, you know, I might have been hung over and shit like that, and I just say if you want to practice them, I'll start some fights and stuff. You know what I mean? Start pushing guys around. You know, you didn't want it. No. Number 3, me. Number 2,
Brett Hall.
Robitaille. Scoring its left winger in the history. Awful. Can absolutely mess a drill up like nobody's
drill killer.
Drill killer extraordinary. He invented the drill killer. Right? And number 1. Capitan, the big man, Steve Eiserman.
Really?
Oh my God! Because he'd always want to go first, and no matter what Scotty's saying, then Stevie do his own thing, and like Marty the Point, or guys would go behind Stevie and do exactly what Stevie did, and then Scotty loses his shit on him. So you never, and Stevie get in this mood where he'd want to go first, you know, and it'd be like, oh, you're screwed, you better pay attention. So,
I know you were playing against him, but since we're talking about bad practice players, I always heard, and since we're not in the NHL, I don't know that Mario Lemieux was an awful practice player. That like apparently coaches were like, "Yeah, we're gonna bag skate." He's like, "No, I don't think we're gonna do that today, coach."
There's a difference between a bad. He just would call his own shots.
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair point.
You know what I mean? No, like they were out there, no bucket, shoulder pads, sweatpants. You know what I mean? But they win. Did he lead the league in goals? Did he do what he needed to do to produce? You know, like what do you want him to score 200 a year?
Yeah.
You think it would have? Yeah. That's counterproductive. He's old school. Like gem to me. He's like, you know, because he did it the way they don't call him Ace for nothing. See, that's it. When you look at it's sort of like cool because all the really cool guys. Like Lemieux is Ace, but Steve Eiserman, like his nickname's Silk, smooth as silk. Yeah. Like they got some pretty cool nicknames.
Hey, Walks, before you take one here, do you ever have a relation with Jimmy DeVillano there in Detroit? He's actually our me and Walker's.
Yeah, no, he was part of draft. He was part of drafting me and a big part of us winning and the culture and stuff like that. So I always love running into Jimmy and talking hockey and stuff like that.
Nice.
Walker's having a little, Walk's having a little trouble. He got the port over internet going on.
Yeah.
He's probably logged into Darren's interview or internet in Detroit.
Oh, he's probably those Pittsburgh guys want to be like Detroiters. Those Pittsburgh fans.
Oh, I just want to. I've got a question from a friend of mine about a little bar down in Flint that you were quite regular at. It's called. What is it called? The Rock Pit?
The which one?
The Rock Pit?
The Rock Pit.
Oh, no, you're thinking of, Machine Shop.
Machine Shop. My
apologies. You almost had it. Yeah, you're close,
Machine Shop. You know what? Listen, I had to revert back to my Canadian charades, plus you're half retarded because of the exhaust fumes in your trunk. All right, so do you see how I figured that out? That's how you know that I'm Mensa too, so I could figure that out. Yes, the rock and roll bar called the Machine Shop that has every band come in there. I'm big friends with them, and actually my band Grinders played there a bunch of times. So if you get a chance to go to that place, it's one of the best places to hear a rock show for sure.
Are you still doing a podcast?
Yeah.
The podcast, the Grind Show, still rocking?
Yeah, I'm doing. Yeah. Actually, the COVID fucked Grinder up. We were set to do a festival tour this summer, so we're ready to get back in. But yeah, check out Woodward Sports. I'm getting grind time back to the old form, hour interviews and stuff like that. So I'll be doing that. But I'm also launching February 22nd on that network. Being a local guy who's a Fox 2 guy, we're gonna do an afternoon 3 to 5 show. You know, with a little bit different vibe to it. So something in the afternoon. And I'm big about the positives and looking at the positives. You know, you can bitch and moan about different things, but it's, you know, different ways and different things, you know, food, different shit like that. More of the Detroit vibe and what everything's all about, just so everybody gets a chance. You know, I wanted to, when you guys, you know, get a chance to come to LCA or get to, you know, to travel and decide to come here to feel welcome and you know where to go and stuff. You know, we can sit there and smash talk each other all the time and, you know, hate on our teams. That's what it's all about. But, you know, to be able to say, hey, if I go to LCA, I want to go down to Lafayette, Coney Island, you know, that's D-Mac said to go there, stuff. Just, you know, to help facilitate wherever we go. It's just facilitating the right people.
Absolutely. I want to touch on a guy you also played with. I'm not sure how long you played with him, but a big fan. I used to hate him when he played, but love him now as a podcaster. Sean Avery. What was he like as a young rookie?
Yeah, poor A's. He didn't. If I tell you, he didn't really stand a chance when he lived with Kelly and Holly his first year. So driving him with those guys every day. The opinionated, but you gotta love Sean. Sean.
Yeah.
You know, the one Sean, and you take him, you know, for what it is, for what he is, and sometimes, you know, he crosses the line, but you know, that's who he is. You know, you take him for what he is. He'll tell you what he's thinking, that's for sure. But he's a good kid, always has been. You know, the funniest thing is we're in LA the one night. Have you heard this story?
No.
You heard the Shanny story? See, because you got to put Sean. The thing is you got to take your chance and put him in his place when you can, right?
Yeah.
And there's only certain times you can do that. And so he just got traded from Detroit to LA, and he'd been there for a couple of weeks. And so going by our locker room, he was saying hi to some of the guys in the training room, like me, Shanny, Drapes, and stuff. And we're talking. So it gets on the ice, and, you know, like, Sean's a Canadian. It's, you know, you're not wearing my colors. Screw it. Yeah. So I'm always between the benches, right? Because I always like to know what's going on and stuff. So Shanny's standing there, and Sean's motherfucking Shanny at the bench for like a good 20 seconds. Like, you know, and it's good shit. It's nothing real bad or anything, but it's like talking about him, like whatever. And Shanny stops and he goes, Sean, you just not in our locker room telling us how much you hate your fucking teammates and your coach sucks your cock and something like this. And were you not just in there telling me you hate these fucking guys and now you're there? And then he gets in the back and fucking, I don't know why, like, it just was one of those moments where that's how you have to deal with that. Because, dude, is it anybody else? Hasn't anybody else thought about turning around to the goaltender like he did to Brodeur?
No,
like, did anybody else think that was not brilliant? Like, I mean,
oh yeah,
if we backed out a little bit more, but there's something there, isn't there?
Yes.
What you played with?
There. I mean, but again, Sean likes to press the envelope,
yes,
and he's not afraid to take it to the edge or over the edge, and he's gonna hang on for the ride. So you got to respect that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Darren, I wanted to ask you quickly about Brendan Shanahan. Did you see him rising to the level of success he's had in his career when he was playing? Did he seem like that type of guy with becoming a president of a hockey club? Okay.
I always had Shanny pegged for GM or a higher rank, not for coaching or anything like that. Just, it just, dude, the guy sits cross-legged. Guys just sit cross-legged.
I gotta start using that one.
Feel free. You gotta, hey, you know the old footnote rule. You gotta credit me. You gotta credit me.
Oh, you're getting the credit for sure. What? So talk a little bit about your podcast and kind of what you're, and the new show if you want to promote it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one if you're wrestling fans, the one that I do right now that I've been doing for a while, it's called the Wrestling Perspective Podcast, and I do it with Dimitri Young, Jason Kendall, two former baseball players, Lars Fredrickson, the lead singer of Rancid, and Petey Williams, former TNA, the Canadian Destroyer. So, and we're all buddies, but it's all our love of wrestling. And tonight, before I got on with you, we were interviewing John Silver, the Dark Order. We did Sammy Callahan, Kurt Angle last week and stuff. So
nice.
Check that out.
Kurt Angle.
Wrestling Perspective Podcast. It's on YouTube, it's, on Twitter and stuff. So that's sort of like my side band.
Nice.
That I love because but then you get to meet all these guys and like the Good Brothers. So me and Doc Gallows are buddies. And Jericho, known, the Canadians, and there's a lot of hockey fans, so there's a correlation to it and stuff. So me with Grind Time, Darren McCarty, there's obviously I've been on hiatus because of trying to figure out the right platform. And Grind Time to me isn't the video; it's sitting down end of the table and talking, getting it out there. And the one thing is here's the evolution is that I figured out recently what Grind Time with Darren McCarty is, and it's the why. I have to know why you do it, why makes you tick, why why. I need to know the why. It's like I tell everybody, I'm not here to argue. What do you mean by that's out the ring yin yang, right? I'll tell you my why. My why is people. My why is to facilitate the option. Do you know that you have an option? That's my why. And I'm inspired by all different types of people. And some I want to bring more to the forefront that people need to know. Because I firmly believe that people make choices not because they have the option, they don't know the option, right? So that's what I'm looking with the Woodward Sports. What we're trying to do is try to be like the Barstool-ish of Detroit. But we're all about when this COVID ends, we're all about out there with the fans, doing the stuff with the fans.
Awesome.
That's what it, like I say, people are my power. I'm a battery, bro. I mean, I'm because I know where I was, right? And I don't care how old you are, whatever like this, I automatically go subtract 23 years to see what wheelhouse you're in. And you know what? You could hate me, you could love me, you could, the one thing is that, but we have a conversation. And then if you're young and you know who I am, well, you got great lineage, you got great parents, you're in the culture or whatever, I'll talk. I love this game. This game,
absolutely.
I love this game. I love what I've accomplished, but what you do is not who you are. I'm so much,
love that,
more interested in other things. That's why when people say, you ever want to coach or no, live my life at the rink. Right? I'll give my 2 cents, but I'd rather help out and know the guys, they can take care of the X and O's and go do that. I'd rather make sure that they're okay with everything else, to take away all the outside influences that they don't need and facilitate as easy of a transition. That's how I see my power to help them win.
Awesome. It's Styles Walks. Anything before we get rocking here?
I got lots, but we don't. Well, how much time?
We keep running out of time. No, we should have been 2 hours. It really should have been.
No shit. Well, quick one for your big wrestling fan. Who's your favorite wrestler?
I'll do this. We'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In a few weeks or whatever.
I'm in. I'm in 100%. I know Walker is too. Maybe he can get his computer working, Darren.
No, fuck Walker. Fucking Styles is my guy. I think I might even put, Styles is my guy.
Yeah.
You got it, Styles. Fuck you, Walker. Fucking do it. Because Toronto and Detroit hate Pittsburgh. Fuck you.
Yeah. Beat Walker.
Oh, I'm dying.
Yeah, because you guys got Shanny at least. Fuck you, Walker.
Yeah.
Derek, a couple quick ones just before we go. We always finish off with some rapid fire. So 2021 season coming up. Who's winning the cup?
That's it. You know what? that's tough, man. That's a tough one. I think it's up for grabs. I think you got to go. The front runners, obviously the Tampa Bay. But I'm looking. You know what I'm looking? My underdog, and this is what I'm looking for. This is the type of year. This is the shit that happens that snaps somebody like Edmonton out of their funk. Yeah. So who knows what the hell is going on? But it's the levee's got to break there soon, don't it? Like they got to do it's almost impossible. And I know Uncle Kenny Holland's there, and my boy Zach Cassian's there. So I mean, they got one of the Darren McCartys that are left in the league. So
yeah.
Favorite city to party in outside of Detroit?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Really, eh?
That's a good one.
Golf.
Shout out to Madison's.
Are you a golfer?
Oh yeah.
Golf handicapped above or below a 10?
Below.
Oh, Sandbagger International.
Got a stick?
No, I'm the world's greatest date.
Favorite wrestler?
Oh, of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Nice.
That was my back in the day. The stick was I was that, and Matt Dandino was The Rock, and then Mike Knuble was Mankind, and we always beat him up.
Mankind.
Yeah.
Last one.
We loved it.
Would he pull his sock off and put it in your mouth too?
Yeah. We do it all, dude. They had video in the room back in the day. We were a bunch of idiots. Oh, dude, and then wrestling would be there. I mean, I got into there's a WWE. And I've seen it on the replay, but one of the Raws, me, Dandino, and Knuble were in the front row, and D'Lo Brown's from Detroit. Bob Holly went to hit him with a stick, and I grabbed it and smashed it over his head, and then helped D'Lo win the match. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. We go and then when they set the rings up and all that stuff, we go bounce around them, and it's tough running those ropes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's no joke. Those guys are super athletes. I think today. I'm a huge I love what like the AEW is doing because it's about the brand. So like Kenny Omega, he's unbelievable. I think my favorite wrestler though that I always do is Pac, the old Neville, right? Pac. So Pac, he does that fucking shooting arrow that does like 3 full revolutions. Like it's crazy the stuff that these guys can do these days. There's so many good wrestlers and stuff like that. It's not just the WWE anymore.
And last question for the rapid fire is, if you're going to show off in a conversation, I'm sure you've met lots of celebrities in your lifetime. If you had to show off with a celebrity in your phone, who's that celebrity that you would show in your phone?
Zach Wilde, Black Label.
Nice. I appreciate that one. Sick.
That is awesome. Darren, I got a couple guys that wanted to say hello to you. One of a diehard Wings fan who wrote into us, a guy named Mike Garvis, and of course our buddy Nick Rainville, who's a huge Detroit Red Wings family. His father, who passed away a long time ago, was a huge was a huge fan, and I'm really looking forward to having you here on part 2.
Yes.
No, hey, you bet, fellas. We'll do it again, and. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of start Laine gets off to. I'm not worried about Dubois finding his rhythm. It'll be interesting to see how hungry he is.
Agreed.
Well, thanks again. We'll see where they're
at. Thanks again to our guest, Darren McCarty, for coming on to join the show today. Just a reminder, Off the Puck Hockey can be seen every Saturday night, 9 p.m. on Rogers TV, Channel 20. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and with always, we got Adam Stiles, Mike Walker, producer Matt Huddle behind the scenes making the magic happen, Marty Zylstra providing our theme music, and this is Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.
Thanks, Jared.